Okay, Sabres, when talking about organization and productivity tools, we have to start with talking about Finder. When you log into your computer, what should be your default application when nothing else is open is Finder. You notice it's right here. If we go under File and choose New Finder Window, we can get a blank Finder window open or a fresh one. You can also go down to your dock, and on the left-hand side, the Finder icon looks kind of two-faced, and if you click on that, it will open a window as well. We're going to go over the basics first of finding files, and most of you have probably been conditioned to go to the Spotlight icon up here. And Spotlight is great for some purposes, but it's limited on what it can find. So if I just type in math, it's going to search folders on my computer and email messages that have been sent out, applications, which are all great, but all it's going to do is open those. And I can't really right click on these and do much with them. So if I'm just looking to open a file, this works great. But if I want to move it, do anything other than move it, I'm fairly limited. I could grab this and drag it, drop it into a new Finder menu or onto my desktop to copy it there. But I can't do a lot of other things with it. So I'm going to encourage you to not use Spotlight when you want to really manage files or even search for them. Just open a Finder window, and this Spotlight feature right here is the same thing except it's more powerful. And here's why. It'll open up, it'll search your computer for file names that match math, and you can do more stuff with it from here. Okay, if we right click on this, we get all kinds of options. We can open it with the Reader app, we can move it to the trash right away, we can move it to our Dropbox account, get information on it, like the size of it, how big it is, if we had to email it and had to know how big it was. All kinds of stuff, change the name of it as well. So we have more abilities to find those files and then do stuff with them. And speaking of doing stuff with them, what can we do? Well, most of you are downloading a lot of files from Schoology, and your downloads folder gets fairly full of stuff that might be assignments or worksheets or things you've gotten off the web. And we're not doing a lot with it from there. So we need to be able to manage those files or put them somewhere where we can eventually find them other than the downloads folder. Now I will admit that if it's all in there and we just use Spotlight and search it, it should come up. But long term, it's not a good habit to be teaching you. We want you to get to be able to process these to a certain place. So I'm going to show you a few tricks on doing that. If you go into your downloads folder, I always search by the date modified or sort it. So my newest items are always to the top. Your default is by the name, and it kind of mixes stuff up, and it's hard to find things just looking at names. So it's easier to go date modified and sort it that way. You can also have a size icon over here which will tell you how big it is. So in this case, I've got a install application, and it's fairly large, 59 megabytes. That means I can't email it. It's just good to know. This was a video file that was sent recently, and I also I wouldn't be able to email that. I would have to file share it some other way. So let's go over, first of all, some features with previewing these. Cool feature in Finder is if you click on the icon and just hit the space bar, it will give you a preview of that on your screen. And for videos like this file,
okay,
this is a project for middle school, I can preview the whole video. I can actually even watch it full screen from here. And I can open it with QuickTime or airdrop it to somebody from here as well, which we'll go over in a little bit. So it's a cool way to check through things. There's a couple other views in here. If you like this view better, you can arrow key through and it'll give you previews of these to look at. Okay, moving files. If I need to move some files, so I've got a bunch of stuff in downloads, my preference is to go to this second lined tab here. All these icons are icons that I'm using for this presentation on productivity tools, and I'm going to move them. So I could move them one at a time by selecting them and dragging them and hovering over my documents and then going to ITS, which is where they need to go, and dropping them into there, waiting and then drop. And now it'll copy over there. A faster way to do that would be to go back to this first window and select one, then hold the Command key down and select the other ones I want to move. If I hold the Shift key down, I can go to the bottom and click again and it'll select everything in a row. So again, if I deselect, hold the Shift key down, it'll grab everything. I don't want this b-ball one to go though, so I'm going to hold the Command key down and click on that one. And now I've got everything I want selected, and I'm going to move it to my documents folder. Now I can hover over that icon until it opens up. What I like to do is open a second Finder window. So just to show you that, if I have one open here, I can go to File, New Finder Window, or Command N is the quick command. And I like to navigate to where they're going to go. So they need to go into the ITS folder, and then I can just drag them and drop them like this. And I don't have to worry about those folders opening up. A lot of times you end up dropping it in the wrong spot, and then you have to Command Z, undo, etc. Creating folders in Finder is very easy. I wouldn't recommend creating folders in your Downloads folder. I would create folders in your Documents folder. So ideally we would have some level of organization like this, where all of our things are put into folders. And to do that, we simply click the drop-down menu here, click New Folder, and there's a file there, Column Mosaic, which was a Art in Motion project. And I can grab my Column Mosaic and move it into that folder. It opens another Finder window. Command W will close the window. So if I get these Finder windows all over the place. The last thing is how to trash files or get rid of them off your computer. So I've got some stuff on my desktop here that I can get rid of. And there's two different ways I can do that. I can actually just go on my desktop like this and drag this to the trash. I can also click on my desktop here and I get a Finder view of the files on my desktop. And from here I can manage them as well. So I've got this screenshot that I shot today and I don't really need it anymore. I can drag that to the trash, or I can hold the Command button down and hit delete and it moves it to the trash for me. Now there's one trick to the trash, and that is it's not actually emptied. Just because you put something in the garbage doesn't mean it's taken down to the street corner and hauled away. The trash still has icons in it. In order to get rid of those, we have to go to Finder and choose Empty Trash. And now we have cleared that space on our hard drive and gained that space back. So it's one critical step that I see a lot of people doing. They move things to the trash can but don't actually empty it out. Those are the basics of Finder. This little nugget I'm not letting go of. I should find a home for that. And if you have any other questions, you can ask Help Desk or myself, one of the two ITS.